Beneath the grandeur of Florence, where the echoes of ancient power still whisper through cobbled streets, lies a secret history. The Medici, masters of art, politics, and intrigue, built not just palaces but labyrinths. Hidden passages, secret chambers, and forgotten staircases lurk behind velvet curtains and carved stone. Stepping into this world reveals a time when escape routes were woven into palace walls and private retreats held more than just treasures. Prepare to uncover the astonishing hidden spaces that once sheltered dukes, concealed conspiracies, and safeguarded priceless art. You are about to delve into the astonishing world of Medici secrets, a realm where every shadow might hide an untold story. Number 9. The Medici Chapels' Secret Chamber, a glimpse of genius. In the heart of Florence stands a monument to power, art, and the intricate legacy of the Medici family. The Basilica of San Lorenzo, a masterpiece of Renaissance architecture, houses within its hallowed walls the renowned Medici Chapels. These chapels, not merely places of worship, serve as the solemn burial ground for many of the most prominent members of the Medici dynasty. A visit to these chapels reveals an overwhelming display of artistic genius. The new sacristy, a space designed by Michelangelo himself, featuring his magnificent tombs for Lorenzo, Duke of Urbino, and Giuliano, Duke of Nemours, adorned with his iconic allegorical figures of day, night, dawn, and dusk. The opulence of the Chapel of the Princes, with its vast dome and walls encrusted with precious marbles and semi-precious stones, speaks volumes about the family's immense wealth and desire for eternal glory. Yet, within this grand complex, behind a seemingly ordinary wall, lay a secret that remained hidden for centuries, a silent witness to a master's private turmoil. The year was 1975. The Medici Chapels, like many historical sites, required constant care and occasional renovation. Cleaners were at work in the new sacristy, diligently preparing a small, narrow corridor for public access. This passageway, located beneath the apse of the new sacristy, was a service area, a space rarely noticed by the thousands of visitors who thronged the chapels each year. The workers were tasked with removing layers of old plaster from the walls, a routine procedure aimed at preserving the ancient structure. As they chipped away at the crumbly material, their tools struck something unexpected. It was not solid stone, but wood, a trapdoor. Not an obvious one, but a hidden opening, camouflaged by time and careful concealment. The dust settled, revealing a dark aperture, almost swallowed by the shadows. A tremor of curiosity ran through the small team. What could this hidden opening lead to? Was it merely an old storage space, or something more? The discovery prompted immediate action. The cleaning crew, understanding the potential historical significance of their find, promptly alerted the director of the Medici Chapels Museum, Paolo Dal Paghetto. Dal Paghetto, a seasoned art historian, approached the revelation with both caution and excitement. He knew that Florence held countless secrets tucked away in its ancient buildings, but a hidden chamber within Michelangelo's own creation was an astonishing prospect. With careful deliberation, a small hole was made in the wooden trapdoor. A light was shone into the darkness beyond. The beam cut through centuries of stagnant air, illuminating a small, cramped room about 10 feet long and 7 feet wide, with a vaulted ceiling rising approximately 8 feet high. The room was not empty. As the light danced across the surfaces, it revealed a startling sight. The walls were covered with drawings, hundreds of them. Sketches in charcoal and sanguine, etched directly onto the rough plaster. The realization dawned almost instantly. These were not random scribbles. The powerful lines, the dynamic figures, the unmistakable anatomical precision myth, these were the marks of a genius. They were the drawings of Michelangelo Buonarroti. The room had been his secret canvas, his private sanctuary. Art historians and restorers descended upon the site, meticulously documenting every detail of the newly discovered chamber. The air in the room seemed to hold the faint echoes of artistic endeavor. Researchers carefully analyzed the charcoal lines, noting the distinct style, the specific poses, and the sheer volume of work. Many of the drawings appeared to be preparatory sketches, studies for figures that would later grace his famous sculptures. There were studies of human legs, torsos, and heads, some depicting muscular forms, others capturing expressions of deep contemplation. Some sketches seemed to relate directly to the very tombs above, within the new sacristy itself, offering a rare glimpse into the master's creative process, his thoughts taking shape on the unforgiving surface of a wall. One could discern figures resembling elements from the allegorical statues of day and night. There were also outlines that hinted at projects beyond the Medici Chapels, including a detailed study of the Laocoon statue, a classical masterpiece that Michelangelo greatly admired, and even a sketch of the architectural plan of the tomb of Julius II, a project that had consumed many years of his life. The sheer volume of these spontaneous drawings suggested a period of intense activity, a time when Michelangelo was compelled to continuously exercise his artistic hand, even in a confined space. It was a raw, unfiltered outpouring of his imagination, a private studio where his genius was laid bare. The question that immediately arose was, why was this room hidden? Why would such precious works be concealed beneath layers of plaster, seemingly abandoned? Historical records offered a compelling answer. The year 1530 marked a turbulent period in Florence's history, a time of profound danger for Michelangelo. The city had risen against the Medici, establishing a republican government, and Michelangelo, a staunch supporter of the Republic, had played a significant role in its defense. He had been appointed supervisor of the city's fortifications, overseeing the construction of defenses during the arduous siege of Florence. When the Medici, with the support of imperial forces, finally recaptured the city, those who had opposed them faced severe retribution. Alessandro de' Medici, supported by Pope Clement VII, who was Giuliano de' Medici's son, returned to power with an iron fist. Michelangelo, who had sided with the Republican cause, was in grave danger. According to historical accounts, including those detailed in biographies of Michelangelo, he was forced into hiding to escape the wrath of the newly restored Medici regime. For approximately 2 months, he remained concealed, a fugitive in his own city. It is widely believed that this very secret chamber beneath the new sacristy was his refuge. During those long, anxious weeks, trapped in the darkness and uncertainty, Michelangelo found solace and purpose in his art. With charcoal and sanguine, the simplest of tools, he transformed the rough stone walls into his personal sketchpad. Each line drawn was not just an artistic exercise, but perhaps a way to cope with his fear, to maintain a sanity, and to continue his creative work even in the most perilous of circumstances. The drawings were not meant for public display or for sale. They were a private outpouring, a direct connection to his inner world during a period of intense pressure. They are, in a way, a silent scream of genius, a testament to his unbreakable spirit. The existence of the secret room offers an unparalleled insight into the mind of Michelangelo. It provides a unique perspective on his working methods, his thought processes, and even his psychological state during a time of extreme duress. To stand in that small, humble chamber, now carefully preserved and protected, is to feel a tangible connection to a master. The crude texture of the walls, bearing the faint marks of his hands, creates an intimate bond across centuries. It is a space where the veil between the past and the present seems thinnest, where the ghost of Michelangelo's presence is almost palpable. Access to this chamber remains highly restricted due to the fragility of the drawings and the delicate nature of the environment. The air quality, humidity, and light levels are meticulously controlled to ensure the preservation of these invaluable treasures. For those fortunate enough to gain entry, the experience is profound. It is not a grand display of finished art, but a raw, unvarnished glimpse into the genius at work, a reminder that even the greatest artists had their private struggles in secret places of refuge. The Medici, with all their power and patronage, inadvertently created a space that would one day reveal one of their most celebrated artists' deepest secrets, a silent testament to a hidden chapter in the life of a titan of the Renaissance. Number 8. The Forgotten Grotto of Isolotto, a garden's hidden gem. Beyond the grand facade of Palazzo Pitti, stretching across the sloping hills of Florence, lie the sprawling and magnificent Boboli Gardens. These gardens are not merely a collection of trees and flowers. They are a masterpiece of Italian landscape design, an outdoor museum filled with ancient sculptures, fountains, and architectural marvels. Designed for the Medici Grand Dukes and their court, Boboli was a place for leisurely strolls, theatrical performances, and philosophical contemplation. While many visitors marvel at the famous Fountain of Neptune or the sprawling amphitheater, a more secluded and equally captivating secret lies nestled within its verdant embrace, the grotto of Isolotto. This grotto is not a dark hidden cave, but rather a charming, secluded sanctuary that speaks of elegant privacy and the Medici's deep appreciation for sophisticated natural design. To find the Grotto of Isolotto, one must venture away from the main thoroughfares of the Boboli Gardens, moving towards the more serene and less frequented pathways. It is located on the Isolotto, a small island set in a grand, oval-shaped pond within the gardens. This pond, adorned with statues of Perseus and Andromeda, is itself a feature that seems to float away from the main garden design, creating a sense of detached tranquility. The Isolotto is reached by two stone bridges, leading one to believe they are entering a truly special, separate realm. It is here, among the citrus trees and fragrant bushes, that the grotto reveals itself. The Grotto of Isolotto is not as widely known as the more dramatic Buontalenti Grotto, and perhaps that is part of its allure. Its hidden nature makes its discovery feel more personal, more like uncovering a genuine secret. The grotto is designed as a small artificial cave, crafted from rough-hewn stone and adorned with sponges and stalactite-like formations, mimicking the natural wonders of a genuine cavern. The entrance is unassuming, blending seamlessly with the surrounding vegetation, almost as if nature itself had carved out this cool retreat. Stepping inside, one finds a delightful contrast to the bright Florentine sun outside. The air becomes immediately cooler, carrying the scent of damp earth and verdant plants. Within the grotto, silence seems to deepen. The sound of distant city life fades, replaced by the gentle trickle of water features that are intricately woven into its design. Small fountains once played within its confines, creating a soothing melody and adding to the illusion of a natural spring. The walls are not merely rough stone. They are embedded with shells and pumice stone, creating a textured organic surface that invites the touch. Nooks and alcoves are carved into the grotto's interior, designed to hold statues or perhaps to offer a secluded seating area for quiet conversation or private reflection. The Medici often used these garden grottos as places to escape the summer heat, to entertain intimate guests, or to simply enjoy moments of solitude. The purpose of this grotto, and others like it within the Boboli Gardens, was multifaceted. It provided a cool sanctuary from the intense Tuscan sun, a necessary respite during long summer days spent exploring the vast gardens. Beyond practical comfort, these grottos served as spaces for private gatherings. Imagine a duke or duchess seeking a moment of respite from the rigid formalities of court life, retiring to this secluded spot with a favored confidante or a small group of trusted advisors. Here, conversations could be held without the constant fear of eavesdropping, strategies could be discussed in hushed tones, and personal thoughts could be shared in an environment that seemed to naturally protect secrets. The design of the Grotto of Isolotto also reflects the Renaissance fascination with artifice and nature. The Medici, keen patrons of art and science, delighted in creating spaces that blurred the lines between the natural and the man-made. This grotto, while entirely constructed, feels organic and ancient. It was a place where human ingenuity mirrored the beauty of the natural world, a testament to the Medici's belief that art could perfect nature. The sculptures that once adorned or surrounded the grotto further enhanced this blend, depicting mythological figures or allegories that deepen the sense of wonder and escape. Over centuries, as the gardens evolved and management changed, some of these smaller, less prominent grottos receded further into the garden's embrace. They became less grand tourist attractions and more subtle discoveries for those willing to wander off the beaten path. The Grotto of Isolotto, in its quiet beauty and secluded location, became one such forgotten gem. It speaks to a different kind of secret, not a secret of hidden power or desperate escape, but a secret of private pleasure, quiet contemplation, and the subtle luxury of being alone in a beautifully crafted world. It tells a story of Medici life that existed beyond the grand halls and public spectacles, a life lived in moments of personal peace and refined enjoyment. Visiting this grotto today is an experience of gentle discovery. The path leading to it is less worn, the sounds of other visitors are more distant. As one steps into its cool embrace, the sense of stepping back in time is immediate. One can almost hear the faint rustle of silk gowns, the soft murmur of Renaissance Italian, and the gentle splash of water that once filled the air. It is a reminder that even within the most magnificent and well-known landmarks, there are always hidden corners, waiting patiently for curious eyes to unveil their quiet, enduring stories. The Grotto of Isolotto stands as a testament to the Medici's intricate world, a place where hidden beauty was cherished as much as overt power. Number 7, the hidden rooms of the Villa di Careggi, secrets of the first Medici. Nestled in the gentle hills, just north of Florence, the Villa di Careggi stands as one of the oldest and most significant of the Medici villas. Unlike the later, more flamboyant palaces, Careggi began as a fortified farm in the 14th century before being transformed into a true villa by Michelangelo di Bartolomeo for Cosimo de' Medici, known as Cosimo the Elder, in the mid-15th century. This villa became a beloved retreat for the Medici family, a place where they could escape the bustling political intrigues of the city and indulge in their passion for philosophy, art, and intellectual discourse. It was here that the famous Platonic Academy flourished under Lorenzo the Magnificent, a gathering of the brightest minds of the Renaissance. And within its ancient walls, it is believed, lay secret rooms, subtle passages that mirrored the discreet nature of the family who built it. The Careggi, in its early form, reflected the practical needs of the Medici. As Florence's most powerful banking family, their wealth brought both influence and enemies. Security was paramount. While not as overtly fortified as a castle, the villa's architecture likely incorporated elements of protection and privacy. Builders of the era, particularly for powerful families, often included concealed spaces for various reasons: for storage of valuables, for discreet movement of family members or servants, or even as places of refuge during times of unrest. These were not grand, obvious passages, but subtle architectural features designed to blend seamlessly into the structure. Historical accounts of the Medici's daily life at Careggi often speak of their intimate gatherings, their scholarly pursuits, and their preference for private contemplation. Cosimo the Elder, known for his wisdom and his quiet, unassuming demeanor, despite his immense power, would have valued spaces that offered solitude. It is plausible that the villa contained small, hidden studies or alcoves where he could read ancient texts without interruption, or where he could engage in quiet conversations with philosophers like Marsilio Ficino, away from the prying eyes of the larger court. These hidden rooms might have been accessed through disguised doors, perhaps behind tapestries or within intricate wooden paneling, a common feature in Renaissance aristocratic residences designed to maximize privacy and intrigue. One can envision a hidden staircase, narrow and dimly lit, allowing a family member to move from a private bedchamber directly to a ground floor study, avoiding the main halls where servants and visitors might be present. Such passages would have been invaluable for discretion, allowing the Medici to manage their vast network of political and financial affairs with the utmost secrecy. Imagine a rare manuscript or a valuable piece of art being transferred through a hidden compartment, safe from theft or accidental damage. These passages might also have served as conduits for communication, where confidential messages or important documents could be passed between family members without drawing attention. The Villa di Careggi was also the setting for significant historical events. It was here that Cosimo the Elder died in 1464, and later Lorenzo the Magnificent in 1492. As a place where the family's most private moments occurred, the possibility of hidden spaces gains even more resonance. The very air at Careggi seemed to be infused with intellectual curiosity and careful political maneuverings. The hidden rooms, if they exist or existed, would have been silent witnesses to profound philosophical debates, quiet moments of artistic creation, and possibly even hushed discussions of political strategy that shaped the future of Florence. Unlike the dramatic discovery of a secret room filled with Michelangelo's drawings, the hidden spaces at Careggi are often conjectured based on the architectural practices of the time and the known habits of its inhabitants. Many old villas undergo renovations over centuries, and subtle architectural secrets can be lost, walled up, or simply forgotten as their original purpose becomes obsolete. Yet, the very notion of these concealed areas adds a layer of mystery to Careggi's already rich history. It suggests a more complex layered dwelling designed not just for grand display, but for the nuanced realities of power and family life. Today, the Villa di Careggi serves as part of a hospital complex, its historical significance somewhat overshadowed by its modern function. However, the ancient stone walls, the surviving frescoes, and the echoes of its past grandeur still whisper stories. For those who wander its grounds and gaze upon its Renaissance facade, the idea of secret studies, hidden chambers, and private pathways remains a captivating thought. It reminds us that the Medici, even the more publicly benevolent ones like Cosimo the Elder and Lorenzo the Magnificent, maintained an intricate web of personal and political secrets. Their homes were not just places of residence, they were fortresses of power, designed with every possible consideration for security, privacy, and the quiet, unseen workings of a dynasty that reshaped Florence in the course of the Renaissance. The hidden rooms of Careggi, whether physically identified or existing as a whisper in the annals of history, symbolize the discrete power and intellectual pursuits that defined the early Medici. Number 6. The private passages of Palazzo Medici Riccardi, the family's hidden ways. The Palazzo Medici Riccardi, rising majestically in the heart of Florence, represents the very genesis of Medici power. They were built for Cosimo the Elder by Michelangelo di Bartolomeo. Starting in 1444, it was the first true Renaissance palace, setting a new standard for urban residential architecture. Its imposing rusticated stone facade, graduating in texture from rough hewn on the ground floor to smooth on the upper stories, projected an image of strength, stability, and quiet authority. This palace was not merely a home. It was the nerve center of the Medici Bank, the seat of an unofficial government, and the private residence of a family whose influence stretched across Europe. Within its magnificent walls, behind its impressive courtyards and grand halls, it is believed lay a network of private passages and hidden ways, essential tools for a family navigating the treacherous currents of Florentine politics and immense wealth. In the 15th century, privacy and security were luxuries, especially for a family as powerful and often envied as the Medici. While the Palazzo Medici Riccardi was designed to impress and project power, it was also built to protect and conceal. Architects of the era were highly skilled in incorporating discrete features into their designs. These often included narrow winding staircases hidden within thick walls, disguised doors that blended seamlessly with paneling or decorative elements, and small, unlit corridors that allowed servants or family members to move unseen between different sections of the palace. Such hidden ways were not for dramatic escapes, but for the subtle daily operations of a powerful household. Cosimo the Elder, the patriarch who commissioned the palace, was known for his shrewdness and his preference for discreet action. He often avoided overt displays of power, preferring to pull strings from behind the scenes. His personal habits would have necessitated private access routes within his own home. For instance, he might have used a hidden staircase to reach his private study, known as the studiolo, directly from his bedchamber without passing through the bustling main reception rooms. This would have allowed him to work or receive trusted visitors in secrecy, away from the constant scrutiny of a large household. The palace's layout, with its central courtyard serving as a nucleus, would have facilitated the integration of such passages. Around the courtyard, different wings of the palace housed living quarters, administrative offices for the bank, and reception halls. A hidden passage could link the family's private apartments to the bank's strong rooms, allowing for the discreet transfer of valuable documents or funds. It could also connect the kitchen areas directly to a private dining room, ensuring servants could deliver meals without disturbing sensitive conversations in the main hall. These practical hidden routes underscored the Medici's dedication to efficiency and control. During the time of Lorenzo the Magnificent, Cosimo's grandson, the palace truly became a hub of intellectual and artistic activity. Poets, philosophers, and artists frequently visited, engaging in lively discussions and creative endeavors. Yet, even amidst this vibrant public life, Lorenzo maintained his private spaces. He was a master of diplomacy and often faced plots and rivalries. Hidden passages would have been invaluable for private meetings with political allies, for receiving informants, or for simply finding a moment of solitude. A specific, small door, perhaps concealed within a tapestry or a painted wall panel, could have led to a secure chamber where sensitive documents were stored or where confidential discussions took place. The very design of the palace, while open and inviting in its public areas, offered layers of privacy that could be activated by concealed doors and hidden access points. It is worth noting that while specific details of secret passages in Palazzo Medici Riccardi are not always documented with dramatic flair like the Vasari corridor, their existence is implied by the architectural conventions of the time and the practical needs of such a powerful family. Palace architects of the Renaissance often built double walls or created small unused spaces between rooms that could easily be converted into hidden corridors or alcoves. The sheer size and complexity of the palace would have allowed for numerous such discrete features to be integrated without being apparent to casual observers. Over the centuries, as the palace passed from the Medici to the Riccardi family, and then to public ownership, many of these subtle architectural nuances might have been altered or forgotten during subsequent renovations. However, the legacy of the Medici Riccardi Palace as a center of power and intrigue persists. The very stones seem to whisper stories of secret deals, quiet conspiracies, and the private lives of a family who shaped the destiny of Florence. The hidden ways of the Palazzo Medici Riccardi represent the understated, pragmatic side of Medici power and the unseen mechanisms that allowed them to maintain control, conduct business, and live their lives with a carefully guarded sense of privacy in a city that constantly watched them. It stands as a testament to the fact that even the grandest displays of power often relied on a network of hidden paths and quiet retreats. Number 5. The secret passages of Palazzo Pitti, whispers in the walls. The Palazzo Pitti, a colossal masterpiece rising imposingly on the Oltrarno side of Florence, is a testament to the Medici's ambition and wealth. Originally built for the Pitti family in the mid-15th century, it was acquired by the Medici in 1549, and soon became their principal residence and the Grand Ducal Palace of Tuscany. Cosimo, the first de' Medici and his wife Eleonora di Toledo oversaw its transformation into a monumental complex, a veritable city within a city, with vast courtyards, opulent apartments, and the sprawling Boboli Gardens. Beyond its public grandeur, the Palazzo Pitti, like any palace of its scale and purpose, was riddled with internal secret passages and hidden chambers, allowing for discreet movement, heightened security, and the execution of the numerous private functions of a ruling dynasty. These were the whispers in the walls, the unseen paths of power. The sheer size of Palazzo Pitti meant that managing its vast retinue of servants, courtiers, and family members required an intricate system of movement. Dedicated service corridors, often narrow and unadorned, ran behind the main apartments, allowing staff to move supplies, prepare rooms, and attend to the needs of the dukes and duchesses without being seen by guests or interfering with official functions. These passages were not glamorous, but they were essential, representing the hidden machinery that made the grand facade of court life possible. A servant could bring food from the distant kitchens to a private dining room, or access a hidden closet within a noble's chamber, all without crossing the main public corridors. Beyond the practical, there were passages designed for the exclusive use of the Medici family themselves. These were often more refined, though still discreet. Hidden doors, disguised within ornate wooden paneling or behind large tapestries, could lead to private studies, secret meeting rooms, or direct access to adjacent apartments. For instance, a duke might have a private door from his bedroom leading directly to a small, secure office, where he kept important documents or held sensitive political discussions away from the ears of even trusted courtiers. These were not just for security, they were for maintaining an aura of exclusivity and control, allowing the rulers to appear and disappear at will, adding to their mystique. Security was a constant concern for the Medici, particularly during times of political instability or personal threat. Palazzo Pitti, with its massive stone walls, was a fortress, but the true strength lay in its internal flexibility. Some passages could have served as emergency escape routes, offering a clandestine way out of the palace's inner sanctum directly into the Boboli Gardens, or even to a discreet exit point on the palace's perimeter. While the Vasari corridor served as the primary escape route from Palazzo Vecchio to Pitti across the Arno, within Pitti itself, smaller internal escape passages would have been vital for moving quickly and unseen during a palace uprising or a sudden security breach. These routes might have led to secluded courtyards, private gardens, or even hidden exits to the city streets below. The life of a Grand Duke or Duchess involved constant vigilance and the need for private conversation. The design of the palace, even in its most public rooms, often included architectural elements that allowed for discreet observation or concealed listening posts. Small, high windows or disguised peepholes, sometimes embedded within decorative carvings or behind paintings, could have allowed guards or trusted advisors to monitor activities in a public hall without being noticed. Similarly, hidden alcoves or small recessed chambers could have been used for secret audiences or for storing confidential documents, ensuring that state secrets remain precisely that secret. One of the most intriguing aspects of these hidden passages is their lack of clear public documentation. Unlike grand halls or famous works of art, these utilitarian or covert spaces were not meant to be recorded or celebrated. Their effectiveness lay in their secrecy. As such, many of these passages may have been altered, walled up, or simply forgotten over centuries of renovation and changing uses of the palace. What might have been a crucial escape route in the 16th century could have been converted into a closet or simply sealed off in the 18th. Today, as visitors wander through the immense galleries of the Palazzo Pitti, admiring its art collections and lavish decor, it is easy to forget the functional secret of life that once pulsed through its hidden veins. Yet, the very scale of the palace, its countless rooms, and its complex history hint at these unseen dimensions. The whispers in the walls of Palazzo Pitti are not just architectural curiosities, they are echoes of a powerful dynasty's constant need for privacy, security, and absolute control, a reminder that behind every grand display of power, there often lies an intricate web of hidden pathways and concealed intentions. Number 4, the Grotto Grande, Buontalenti Grotto, a masterpiece of deception. Within the vast verdant expanse of the Boboli Gardens, adjacent to the majestic Palazzo Pitti, lies a secret chamber that defies simple description, the Grotto Grande, more famously known as the Buontalenti Grotto. This extraordinary artificial cave, a creation of the late Renaissance, is not merely a dark cavern but a theatrical masterpiece, a triumph of artifice and illusion designed to both entertain and astonish the Medici Grand Dukes and their privileged guests. It is a place where water dances, statues emerge from seemingly natural rock, and the very walls whisper tales of mythological wonders and human ingenuity. The grotto was commissioned by Francesco I de' Medici, a Grand Duke with a deep passion for alchemy, science, and the unusual. Its construction began in 1575 under the direction of Giorgio Vasari, but it was completed and brought to its full, bizarre glory by Bernardo Buontalenti, one of the most inventive architects and stage designers of his time. Buontalenti's genius lay in his ability to blur the lines between nature and art, creating environments that were both fantastical and utterly convincing. The Grotto Grande is a prime example of this skill. Approaching the grotto from the main garden paths, its entrance appears to be a natural rock formation, almost an organic extension of the landscape. However, as one draws closer, the intricate details begin to reveal themselves. The facade is adorned with grotesque masks, rough-hewn stones, and fantastical creatures, giving it a somewhat wild, untamed appearance. This deliberate roughness served as a dramatic contrast to the smooth, refined interiors that lay beyond, a prelude to the illusions awaiting inside. Stepping into the first chamber of the Grotto Grande is like entering a dream. The air immediately cools, and the sounds of the garden fade. The walls are not smooth, but appear to be dripping with artificial stalactites, made from a mixture of pumice, tufa, and even real sponges, meticulously arranged to mimic the formations found in a natural cave. The water, once pumped through a sophisticated hydraulic system, would have flowed down these surfaces, creating a shimmering, constantly changing spectacle. Shells, mosaics, and pebbles are embedded into the walls, creating an organic, glittering texture that plays with light. The most famous inhabitants of the first chamber were once Michelangelo's unfinished prisoners, or slaves, sculptures originally intended for the tomb of Pope Julius II. These powerful, struggling figures, trapped in marble, were placed within the grotto's niches, seeming to emerge from the very rock of the cave. Their raw, unpolished forms added to the sense of a natural, primordial space, despite the grotto's entirely man-made origin. Today, replicas stand in their place, the originals having been moved to the Galleria dell'Accademia for preservation, but their former presence speaks volumes about the Medici's desire to integrate masterpieces into their fantastical environments. Beyond the first chamber, a second, more intimate space awaits, filled with further illusions. Here, the walls are adorned with frescoes by Bernardino Pochetti, depicting mythological scenes of gods and goddesses, nymphs and satyrs, engaged in playful or dramatic encounters. These vibrant paintings, combined with the grotto's unique architecture and water features, created a fully immersive experience. Imagine the Medici and their court, perhaps on a stifling summer day, stepping into this cool, enchanting space where artificial light played off the wet surfaces and the sounds of trickling water filled the air. It was a sensory overload, a theatrical spectacle designed to transport visitors to another world. The grotto also housed ingenious water jokes and mechanical surprises. Hidden nozzles could spray unsuspecting guests with water, and automated figures, powered by hydraulics, could move or make sounds. These playful elements were characteristic of Renaissance garden design, adding an element of surprise and delight for the privileged few who experienced them. The Grotto Grande was not a static display. It was an active environment, a living piece of art and engineering. Francesco I Medici's fascination with alchemy and the natural sciences found its expression in this grotto. He saw the grotto as a microcosm, a place where the forces of nature could be controlled and manipulated to reveal their secrets. The combination of water, stone, and hidden mechanisms mirrored the alchemical quest to transform raw materials into something new and magical. It was a space where the boundaries between art, science, and illusion dissolved. Today, while some of the water features are no longer active to protect the delicate structures and frescoes, the Grotto Grande retains its astonishing power. It stands as a testament to the Medici's insatiable appetite for beauty, innovation, and the theatrical. It is a secret chamber in the truest sense, a hidden world of wonder, tucked away within one of Europe's most famous gardens, waiting to reveal its unique blend of art, nature, and deception to those who venture within its cool, shadowy embrace. It tells a story of an era when wealth and power were harnessed to create not just grand palaces, but fantastical realms of imagination. Number 3, the staircase of Walter of Brienne, a tyrant's flea. Within the formidable walls of the Palazzo Vecchio, the imposing seat of Florentine government, lies a secret staircase steeped in a dramatic tale of tyranny, rebellion, and desperate escape. This hidden passage is known as the staircase of Walter of Brienne, and its very existence speaks volumes about the volatile political landscape of 14th century Florence. It is the story not of Medici power, but of an outsider's brief, brutal rule and his hurried, ignominious exit from the city he sought to control. The story begins in 1342, when Walter of Brienne, a French nobleman and military captain, was invited to Florence by the city's ruling elite. Florence was in a state of political turmoil, plagued by internal rivalries and economic instability. Walter was brought in as a temporary measure, a strong hand to restore order. However, he quickly seized absolute power, declaring himself Lord of Florence for life. His rule was arbitrary and harsh. He levied heavy taxes, executed perceived enemies without trial, and disregarded the city's ancient republican traditions. The Florentines, fiercely proud of their independence, quickly grew to resent his tyranny. The Palazzo Vecchio, then known as the Palazzo della Signoria, was Walter's stronghold. It was the seat of government, his residence, and his fortress. Knowing the Florentine temperament and the resentment his rule generated, Walter was acutely aware of the constant threat of assassination or popular uprising. As a result, he ordered the construction of a series of hidden passages and secret escape routes within the palace. Among these, a particular staircase stands out for its legendary role in his downfall. This secret staircase was meticulously designed to be almost undetectable. It was narrow, winding, and hidden within the thick stone walls of the palace, specifically near the private apartments and the main council chambers. Its entrance would have been disguised by intricate stone carving or perhaps concealed behind a heavy tapestry, blending seamlessly with the surrounding architecture. The staircase allowed Walter to move swiftly and unseen between different levels of the palace, particularly to and from his private quarters, offering him a discreet means of egress in times of danger. The Florentine populace's simmering discontent finally erupted on July 26, 1343, a date that became known as Sant'Anna's Day, after the patron saint of Florence. The city rose in a coordinated rebellion. The streets of Florence became a battleground, filled with the shouts of an enraged populace demanding freedom. The mob converged on the Palazzo della Signoria, determined to overthrow their tyrant. But Walter of Brienne and his remaining loyalists found themselves trapped within the palace, surrounded by the wrath of the very people he had oppressed. As the rebellion intensified, the situation inside the palace became desperate. The main entrances were besieged, and the mob threatened to breach the formidable defenses. It was at this critical moment that Walter of Brienne relied on his hidden escape routes. According to historical accounts, he used one of these secret staircases to make his desperate, ignominious exit. This particular passage allowed him to bypass the main besieged areas and slip out of the palace through a less guarded exit, perhaps leading to a courtyard or a side street, where he could then attempt to flee the city entirely. The very act of using such a secret passage highlights Walter's fear and the extent of the Florentine uprising. A ruler who had flaunted his power was reduced to slinking away through hidden corridors, abandoning his stronghold in disgrace. While Walter of Brienne eventually managed to escape Florence and leave Italy, his flight through the secret staircase of the Palazzo Vecchio became a powerful symbol of his tyrannical rule and its dramatic, swift end. The staircase itself became an enduring whisper of that moment, a physical manifestation of a tyrant's desperation. Over the centuries, as the Palazzo Vecchio was expanded, renovated, and became the principal residence of the Medici dukes, some of these older hidden passages might have been altered or sealed off. Yet, the story of Walter of Brienne's staircase endures, passed down through historical records and local lore. It stands as a reminder that even the most imposing structures can conceal hidden vulnerabilities, and that power, when abused, can lead to a swift and secret downfall. The staircase of Walter of Brienne, though perhaps not always visible to the modern visitor, remains a powerful secret, echoing a moment of profound change in Florence's long and turbulent history. It reminds us that Behind every grand facade, there are often hidden roots that bear witness to the most dramatic moments of human triumph and failure. Number 2, the Studiolo of Francesco I, the Alchemist's Secret. Deep within the ancient walls of the Palazzo Vecchio, Florence's historical town hall and later a Medici residence, lies a truly unique and hidden chamber known as the Studiolo of Francesco I. This private retreat, commissioned by Grand Duke Francesco I de' Medici in the late 16th century, is unlike any other room in the palace. It is not a grand reception hall, nor a public office, but a small, windowless, and intensely personal space designed to reflect the eccentric and intellectual passions of its owner. It is a secret room dedicated to art, science, and the pursuit of knowledge, a true alchemist's secret. Francesco I de' Medici, who ruled Tuscany from 1574 to 1587, was a complex and often solitary figure. Unlike his more politically inclined father, Cosimo I, Francesco was deeply introverted, preferring the quiet contemplation of nature, alchemy, and scientific experiments to the bustling world of courtly politics. He was fascinated by the transformative processes of the natural world, the hidden properties of minerals, and the mysteries of the universe. The Studiolo was a sanctuary, a physical manifestation of his inner world, a space where he could pursue his intellectual curiosities away from public gaze. The Studiolo was designed by Giorgio Vasari, the celebrated artist, architect, and historian, with the assistance of Vincenzo Borghini, a Benedictine monk and intellectual, who devised its elaborate iconographic program. The room is small, barely 10 feet long and 8 feet wide, and deliberately hidden. It is located between the Salone dei Cinquecento, the Grand Council Hall, and Francesco's private apartments, making it easily accessible to him, but almost impossible for others to find without knowing its precise location and method of entry. The main entrance is discreet, disguised as a normal panel in the wall of the salon, opening only with a secret mechanism. This hidden access emphasized its private, exclusive nature. Upon entering, one is immediately struck by the room's unique atmosphere. In the Studiolo is a cabinet of curiosities writ large, a meticulously planned artistic and intellectual environment. Every surface is adorned with exquisite art paintings, sculptures, and bronze reliefs. The ceiling is frescoed with mythological scenes by Vasari and his assistants, depicting the 4 elements: earth, air, water, and fire, and the associated processes of alchemy and transformation. Beneath the ceiling, a frieze of portraits of Francesco's Medici ancestors provides a historical context. The most captivating feature of the Studiolo, however, lies in its lower registers. Here, the walls are covered with a series of 34 paintings, each depicting a scientific discovery, a technological innovation, or a natural phenomenon. These paintings, executed by various prominent Florentine artists of the time, including Giovanni Stradano, Jacopo Zucchi, and Alessandro Allori, are arranged in a specific order, reflecting the elements and the processes of nature. For example, scenes of mining, glass blowing, and wool dyeing represent earth birds, and air currents represent air fishing, and pearl diving represent water and metallurgy, and fireworks represent fire. Below these paintings, and even more intriguing, are a series of small bronze-paneled cabinets and niches. These cabinets were designed to conceal Francesco's personal collection of rare and precious objects, minerals, scientific instruments, alchemical apparatus, and exotic artifacts. Each panel, intricately crafted in bronze, depicts a scene related to the objects it conceals, acting as a visual clue to the treasures within. These hidden compartments underscore the room's function as a private repository for the Grand Duke's most cherished possessions and the secrets of his experiments. The fact that the most valuable and personal items were hidden away in these secret drawers speaks volumes about Francesco's desire for privacy and discretion regarding his interests. The Studiolo served as Francesco's private laboratory, his workshop for contemplation, and his personal museum. It was a place where he could escape the demands of statecraft and immerse himself in his true passions. It was a space where the boundaries between art and science dissolved, where knowledge was celebrated and meticulously organized. The entire room is a symbolic representation of the universe and the human attempt to understand and control it through art and science, a testament to Francesco's intellectual curiosity and his secretive nature. Today, the studiolo of Francesco I remains one of the most fascinating rooms in the Palazzo Vecchio. Though it is now part of the public museum, its small-size hidden location and the intricate symbolism of its artwork continue to evoke a sense of profound intimacy and mystery. It is a secret chamber that reveals the hidden mind of a Renaissance prince, an intellectual haven where an alchemist king sought to unlock the secrets of the world quietly, away from the prying eyes of his court and his subjects. It stands as a powerful reminder that even in the most public of palaces, deeply personal and truly secret spaces can exist, bearing witness to a ruler's most private obsessions. Number 1. The Vasari Corridor, the escape route of dukes. The Vasari Corridor is arguably the most famous and extensive secret passage in the world, a truly astonishing feat of Renaissance engineering and a testament to the Medici's unparalleled power and their constant need for security and privacy. This elevated enclosed walkway stretches for approximately 1 kilometer, connecting the Palazzo Vecchio, the seat of Florentine government, to the Palazzo Pitti, the Medici's grand ducal residence, crossing the Arno River along the Ponte Vecchio. It is not just a passage, it is a historical artery, a witness to centuries of Medici life, political intrigue, and even desperate escapes. The corridor was commissioned in 1565 by Grand Duke Cosimo, the first de' Medici. The occasion was the marriage of his son, Francesco, to Joanna of Austria, the sister of the Holy Roman Emperor. Cosimo, a ruler who had consolidated immense power after a period of instability, sought to impress his imperial in-laws and, more importantly, to ensure his own safety and that of his family. Moving between the Palazzo Vecchio, where he conducted affairs of state, and the Palazzo Pitti, his new residence required traversing the busy, often unruly, streets of Florence. Cosimo, ever cautious and aware of potential threats from disgruntled citizens or political rivals, desired a discreet and secure route. The solution was the Vasari Corridor. Giorgio Vasari, the renowned artist, architect, and art historian, was tasked with this ambitious project. He completed the corridor in an astonishingly short time, just 5 months. The speed of its construction was a testament to Cosimo's imperative and Vasari's organizational genius. The corridor begins on the 2nd floor of the Palazzo Vecchio, near Cosimo's private apartments. It then snakes its way through the Uffizi Gallery, which, at the time, housed government offices and the Medici's vast art collection. From the Uffizi, it crosses the Arno River directly over the shops of the Ponte Vecchio, where, remarkably, some of the shops were either cut through or built around to accommodate the passage. Legend says that the butchers' shops, which traditionally lined the Ponte Vecchio, were moved elsewhere because Cosimo found their smell objectionable when passing through the corridor. The passage then continues on the Oltrarno side, passing through the Church of Santa Felicita, where it features a gridded window, allowing the Medici family to attend Mass unseen from above, a striking symbol of their elevated status and separation from common folk. Finally, it reaches the Boboli Gardens and the Palazzo Pitti, leading directly into the ducal apartments. The primary purpose of the Vasari Corridor was security and privacy. It allowed the Grand Duke and his family to move freely and safely between their political and private domains, without being exposed to the public. This was not merely about avoiding crowds. It was about avoiding potential assassination attempts or public protests. Cosimo, who had cemented his power through strategic alliances and firm governance, understood the volatile nature of Florentine politics. The corridor provided an invaluable escape route, a swift and clandestine pathway should the palace ever be besieged or a sudden uprising occur. It literally put the Medici above the city, observing it from a protected vantage point. Beyond security, the corridor also served as a private art gallery. Along its almost 1 kilometer length, Cosimo and his successors adorned its walls with an immense collection of self-portraits by some of the most celebrated artists from the 16th to the 20th centuries. This private display of masterpieces was a profound expression of Medici wealth, taste, and patronage, accessible only to the Duke and his most favored guests. Walking through the corridor was a journey through art history, a visually stunning experience that further underscored the Medici's cultural supremacy. The panoramic views of the Arno River, the bustling streets, and the rooftops of Florence, visible from its windows, offered a unique perspective on the city, allowing the Duke to observe his realm from a detached, commanding position. The corridor's secret nature was famously utilized in later historical moments. During World War II, when Florence was under German occupation, the Vasari corridor was one of the few bridges across the Arno that was not destroyed by the retreating German forces. This was reportedly due to the intervention of Gerhard Wolff, the German consul in Florence, who recognized its historical and artistic value. It subsequently served as a vital secret passage for partisans and refugees, allowing them to move between the two sides of the city undetected, bypassing destroyed bridges and patrolled streets. This unexpected use in a modern conflict further cemented its legendary status as a hidden artery of escape and survival. Today, the Vasari corridor is typically closed to the general public, reserved for special tours and exclusive groups, further enhancing its mystique. Its limited access makes it feel even more like a forbidden secret, a true hidden gem of Florence. To walk its length is to step back in time, to follow in the footsteps of Grand Dukes and Duchesses, to experience the city from their unique, elevated perspective. The Vasari corridor is not just a structure, it is a living piece of history, a symbol of Medici power, secrecy, and the enduring human desire to move unseen, a silent witness to centuries of Florence's triumphs and tribulations. It stands as the ultimate hidden passage, an unparalleled engineering marvel that connected power to residence and secrecy to survival, echoing with the footsteps of those who sought discretion above all else.